Let's get the side now of Cecilio Pedro, owner of Hapee Toothpaste, and from the Federation of Filipino Chinese Chambers of Commerce and Industry. Mr. Pedro, thank you so much for joining us on The Final Word. What is the stand of the chamber? Is this fair? No direct purchase by the private sector, but the only way is through tripartite agreements?
At this point in time, I think this is the only avenue for us to buy, to support the government and buy vaccines, because of the regulations put in place. Under the FDA regulation, only companies with CPR will be allowed to import, whether it's vaccines, medical devices, or even cosmetic products like toothpaste. Unless you have the CPR, which is the Certificate of Product Registration, nobody can or nobody will be allowed to import these products. So at this point in time, we have no choice but to follow the law and support the government. Having said that, I also believe that we can work with the government through this tripartite agreement such that we can, through our own sourcing, help the government procure some vaccines for our employees.
Yeah, but Mr. Pedro, yes, there is a tripartite agreement, but we're seeing the very slow arrival of these vaccines. There's a lot of anxiety right now in the business community that not enough is being done in terms of the supply of vaccines.
That's also very true, Rico. There is a process they have to follow from DOH and even IATF in making this kind of arrangement. They have to. I don't know. I am not familiar with the process in place, but this is normal for government to implement. Such that we cannot just do it without the government stepping in to help us because of the emergency use authority. Sana mabibilisan nila yung process that will help or hasten the private sector in helping the government. Our role here is to help the government, nothing else. We're not here to challenge the government in procuring these vaccines, but to extend an additional line, so to speak, an additional avenue for us to help procure the vaccines for our employees and our people here in this country.
But you're using the word sana, Mr. Pedro. There's hope that the government could expedite the arrival of these vaccines. And now the vaccines equates to the recovery of the Philippine economy. If we don't get to vaccinate enough of our kababayans, then we can't really turn around this economy by this year. 2021 could be another recession year for the Philippines.
That's also very true, because the biggest challenge at this point is fear. Everybody is afraid to go out because of this fear of getting infected with the coronavirus. And so the only way at this point to get rid of that fear is to be vaccinated. Wala tayong choice. And so the word sana is really a hope on the part of businessmen like us. And if there is anything we can do on top of the sana, we would like to go beyond the sana, but we can't do anything unless the government hasten this process of signing the tripartite and giving authority to private businesses to get hold of vaccines.
It looks like we've hit a roadblock here, no? Because the only way for the private sector to get its hands on these vaccines and to get the economic engine humming again is through these tripartite agreements. It's through the government being the middleman. I mean, if you take a look at the inoculation numbers right now, Mr. Pedro, only 336,000 Filipinos have been inoculated over the past 23 days when we have more than 1 million doses already on hand.
That's correct. That's another avenue where we are trying to help, because at this point, even without the signing of the tripartite, we are discussing among ourselves how to go about hastening the the vaccination. We are talking to various hospitals, clinics, to just in case the contract will be signed, we will be ready to vaccinate our employees immediately. Kasi ang dami. We need to vaccinate to get the herd immunity is about 70 or 80% of our population,
That's
which
right.
is about 70 to 80 million. And ang dami. It's just too humongous at
That's
this
right.
point for us to imagine.
And if we go at this pace, Mr. Pedro, of let's say 400,000 immunized kababayans a month, we will just have less than 5 million Filipinos, maybe, sana, by the end of this year, immunized. And that is so far from the 60 to 70 million Filipinos that need to be inoculated.
That's very true. That's why we're hoping, we're praying that the government will allow the private sector to participate, to join
Yes.
in helping this vaccination program in a way to expand the avenues or expand the facilities so that when the vaccine arrives, we can vaccinate our people.
And hopefully, the private sector also be part and parcel of the IATF, because they're now being criticized that they're one of the reasons for this surge in cases in March, especially now with all of these variants. Do you think that the private sector has to be part of the IATF?
I don't know about that particular proposal to be part of IATF. But the fact is, you just give us the authority, then we can proceed and go ahead and plan. You know, the private sectors, we have so many big groups also among us. We have so many chapters scattered throughout the
Yes.
country, and we can mobilize all of this to start already preparing for the vaccination of their employees and even the people in their municipalities or in their places of
Right.
location.
Filipino-Chinese leader, Cecilio Pedro, owner of Hapee Toothpaste. Great to have you with us.